Yummy! Great! What we just demonstrated is what most people would consider classical Kodokan Judo. No matter what system of grappling you're training in, generally it's trained in as a competitive sport. What we're going to do on this videotape is we're going to present methods that are more oriented to street survival and self-defense. These methods are not meant to replace any style of grappling or striking that you are now training in. These methods are simply as an idea or added concepts that will help increase your survivability in a real-life struggle for survival. A very important part of what we're discussing when it comes to reality is, first of all, there are no rules. The guy you're fighting doesn't know about your background, what you know, what you can do. He's not interested in any of that. He doesn't know what's going to come. He doesn't know if he's got to defend against a judo man or a kempo man or a boxer or a Muay Thai man. He's just fighting for his life. The same goes for you. You don't know who this man is that you're involved in a fight with. If you do know his background, this is probably more of a challenge match. We're not talking about a balls-to-the-wall street fight. In a situation like that, you don't know who the hell the guy you're fighting is. You don't know what he knows, what he's carrying. If a man is out there on the street and he's prepared to do violence, you got to take him at his word, which means he's prepared to do violence. There are many things that you're going to have to take into consideration. Factor everything in when you're developing your own personal system of street fighting, because nobody can teach you a perfect system. It doesn't exist. What you have to do is take everything into consideration and then balance and weigh what could be done to you and what you can do to another man in terms of reality, in terms of concrete, curbstone, vehicles, buildings, walls, plate glass windows, and concealed weapons. Just to give an idea of the variety, something as simple as a fishing sinker, a weighted fishing sinker with a key fob. This held into the hand, either protruding from the index side of the hand or from the pinky side of the hand. Very simple, okay? It can be used like a Yawara stick, turned. This could be used almost like a blackjack or a slingshot. So something like this, very innocuous. You could carry this in your hand all day long. People probably wouldn't even notice it. But something like this could be turned into a very devastating weapon. We have a number of different karambit type weapons. Again, easily concealable at night, on a dark alley, in a dark stairwell, on a street with poor lighting. You might not even see this in the guy's hand. Or the guy in the course of a fight starts out unarmed because he thinks he can strong arm you. He thinks you're going to be an easy market, and you start fighting back and he says, oh shit, I got to pull a weapon. And you don't even see it coming. So you've got to keep these things in the forefront of your mind and be aware. Something as simple as this type of weapon, it's got points, it's got a blade. This will rip you up and you won't even see it coming. A similar type of karambit, much smaller, again, might only look like a ring on someone's finger, especially again at night, in poor lighting. And again, that blade, both with the forward slash and with the skull ripper, this little kink blade in the back, this is devastating. A different type of blade can be used similar. This one I prefer to use with the index finger. Again, very small, very innocuous, but slashing to the face, the throat, the arteries of the hands, the wrist, this thing will be murder in a real fight. And you might not even see this. Here is another edge weapon. What this is a roofer's knife or a tile linoleum knife. It's a hook bill. This can be purchased for a couple of bucks at any hardware store. But this, like a cicatripa, is going to be a devastating weapon to use. This will eviscerate somebody, this will gut somebody across the throat, the abdomen, into the testicles. Vicious, vicious weapon. Can be used in a number of different ways. In this way, in a boxing manner, vicious. And this can be had at any hardware store and for just a couple of dollars. Now, knuckle dusters. They come in a variety of styles, a variety of shapes. This pair is black and it comes with points. It has pointed tips. Now, not only could this do a number on you from the striking aspect, but also in close, just using the tips to go into the eyes or into soft flesh to press and tear, into the neck to press and tear. This will do a heck of a job of ripping and gouging. So you got to be aware of this type of weapon. It's not just for striking. Once you're in close, this weapon could do a number on somebody. The push dagger. Here again, this is a beautiful push dagger, very, very inexpensive. I personally like a push dagger with this type of handle as opposed to the straight T, because a push dagger should go between the index and middle finger to give the best strength and control, directional control. Again, in a fight, what you'd be able to do with this, it's too varied to even mention. Dangerous weapon, very, very dangerous weapon. Be aware of these type of things. Now here's another one, very innocuous. This is a pin. This pin literally, just to demonstrate, can be placed anywhere in clothing, anywhere. And all you would see would be just that little tip. That's it. Who would give that a second thought? And yet, this pin, concealed and held in the fist, going into the eye socket, into the ear, into the neck or throat, into the fauces of the throat, jammed in, twisted, ripped around, devastating. And you wouldn't even see this. You'd be getting punctured and you probably wouldn't even see this. Here we have a common neck knife, again, worn under the shirt, pulled, very quick, very fast, double edge. You don't have to worry around, futz around with the grip. Do I have the dead edge? Do I have the live edge? Either way, very, very good weapon. And something as simple and devastating as a straight razor. A weapon, again, inexpensive. You can get it almost at any barbershop or hair salon or cosmetics store, held in the fist in this manner. This type of ripping weapon, this would flay you right over. Going across the eyes, the temple, up into the throat. This would be murder, right here, very simple. Easily concealable, and this is a brutal, deadly weapon in close quarters combat. Not to mention that any of these weapons can be combined. My blackjack is over there. Okay, last but not least is an actual blackjack. Again, this is a devastating weapon to be used in a real fight. These blows, even short, snapping blows to the hands, to the backs of the hands, to the wrists, this is going to be debilitating. I don't care how big a short you take several of these smashes to the small bones of the hand and wrist, that arm's pretty much dead. Forget about what it's going to do to the skull, to the facial bones, into the kneecaps, the point of the elbow, the collarbones. Devastating, devastating weapon. And you use it with a trip hammer, aggressive, just hit him as many times as you can, as fast and hard as you can. This would be almost impossible to defend against. Then, of course, we have a weapon like this. Retract it. Snap it out. Get a close up of that. Now, this is an out-the-front switchblade. This can be held in the hand in a retracted position, and you wouldn't probably pay no attention to what he had in his hand. A second later, that would be in your throat or in your eye. Besides the fact, close again, that this could be used in a tight fist like a Yawara stick. And then, if need be, the blade user. Now this is just a small sample of what's out there. This is just a small idea. And what we're trying to get across is all sporting competition, grappling, striking, kickboxing, full contact karate, mixed martial arts, it's all wonderful, it's great, it's a wonderful sport or activity to participate in, but when you're talking about the real world, you've got to factor in all of these things. All of these things have to come into play when you're developing or you're critiquing any system, method, or technique as it's going to be used in a street fight. Okay, just some concluding remarks and a short review of what we did. The most important parts of what we try to accomplish here, what we try to cover, is not so much techniques and methods, because everybody's going to have a different way of doing things. And this is where you get into the problem of ego. Oh, we do it this way, we don't do it that way, this guy does it that way, he doesn't do it this way, I like to do this, I don't like to do that. This is all nonsense. Everybody trains in a particular system, they're going to have a set of techniques that they like and that come natural. So what we're trying to do is just give some ideas of maybe certain things that haven't entered into the training yet. Maybe you know them, maybe you don't. Maybe this added something to your toolbox, hopefully it did. The idea here is just to open your mind to see other possibilities. Doesn't even have to be what we covered here. If you go, I see. I got to try to look at different angles, different ways of doing things. Take those blinders off. If you're a Sambo man, look at Shao Jai or catch wrestling. If you're a wrestler, look at Judo or Sambo. You know, open your mind. Look to find the best number of techniques. And then, if you're interested in street survival, take those techniques and base them against what reality teaches. And you'll come up with your own defensive system. A couple of things you should avoid. I would say, for the most part, any technique that involves one leg. Harai gosh, Hana gosh, just demonstrate this. Techniques like this. This is Harai gosh. Inside Hana gosh, any technique that involves one leg. I probably would stay away from it in a street fight because it's very easy to go down. The other thing to remember is in most fights, when you do a throw with aggression, you probably will go down with the guy you're throwing, so be prepared for that. Again, watch the hands. Okay, watch his hands. Oh, here's a good point. There's simple, basic things like wrist releases. People think are a bunch of nonsense. Why practice this? Almost any time in a conflict, the guy can grab it. So practice those quick releases. They're important. Little things like that can be useful. Condition your weapons, practice your drills. Always keep an eye, if you're interested in street survival, keep an eye on what's really going to work in the street. And that's all we try to accomplish today. Good luck. When it comes to developing power in striking techniques, you have to practice in the same manner as if you were really going to hit somebody. It's difficult to do in training. You've got to pull blows. Nothing seems realistic. Nothing seems like it's going to work. The other thing is that you must do some conditioning of the weapons. That's imperative. The same way that you would practice your grappling techniques, your chokes, your throws, your newas, your groundwork, joint locks, is the same way you got to condition the atemi or the blows. Doesn't matter what type of martial art or what system, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, Kempo, that doesn't matter. To get real confidence in your blows so that you can constantly be on the offensive attack, you have to know that you can hit and do some damage. The way to do that is to train in conditioning the weapons. One way that I do it, and we'll explain it, I have a piece of cut-off I-beam that I use as a base. On top of that, I use a piece of tatami. And then I use a sandbag. Put that on top. Now the base and the tatami, whatever you can use to replace that is fine. I do this so I get a little bit of lift from the ground, and I also practice striking on the I-beam, which we'll demonstrate. But starting just with the sandbag, lightly, just start practicing edge of hand blows. Just now, you do it two ways. You practice for speed and snap, and you practice for penetration. Speed and snap, exactly what it says. You're going to hit as hard and fast as possible, and try to let the blow rebound. 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 The next type of strike would be a strike that penetrates. What I'm trying to do now is I'm literally trying to cut. If you see there's an indentation from the blow, I'm literally trying to cut the sandbag in half. So I'm concentrating, driving through. Driving through. Those are the two types of blows that you have to practice. Now, any type of hand blow can be done on here, any direction. You can virtually replicate any angle and any type of technique. This is the edge of hand blow. I could just as easily on this be practicing with a heel of hand blow. I could practice a punch. Any blow can be replicated. And the sandbag is very good because it's very forgiving as far as injury goes. You'll toughen the skin, you'll toughen the hand, and you'll develop speed, power, snap, or drive. Now you can change the feel, the resistance, and the type of strike by just adding another sandbag. Now this is much less compressed and less dense than the sandbag. This is filled with small stones. Again, it will give you a different feel to the strike, but it's the same basic concept. I either hit to pull back or hit to drive in. If I do a punch, it's the same idea. I'm concentrating either on driving in or snapping, depending on the type of strike that I'm training. Now, once you get past the preliminaries, now you can start adding some different ideas. Take an ordinary small dumbbell, put the dumbbell on the sandbag. Now, the bar, the center bar, is going to replicate a collarbone, a wrist bone, the cervical spine of the neck. Now you practice hitting right on the cross piece of the dumbbell. Edge of hand blows. This is what's going to give you the confidence that when you really hit that collarbone, there's going to be some bone-breaking damage. Another option is the use of a small sledgehammer. Now, the sledgehammer, if you look at the configuration, you can hit lengthwise, you can hit widthwise. Hold with one hand. Hitting lengthwise, you're conditioning the entire edge of the hand. I could turn it on edge and concentrate, let's say, just at the bone at the wrist or the bone at the pinky. Just concentrating, toughening that. I can turn it at an angle and practice against the width. You can use this to strike with a fist blow. Just hold this and just start lightly. Build up so that you have that confidence close in, that you know that you develop some kind of shot that's going to do damage. Now, if we use a kettlebell, what we're going to do is we're going to replicate the skull. The skull. Again, you can practice edge of hand, heel of hand. practice your elbow strikes. Down. You can practice all your varied strikes on this side. Toughening the forearms, the elbows, the fist, the edge of hand, the heel of hand. All this can be done. Now, another aspect of conditioning is the forearms and the shins. You can actually, bring me a split stick. Thank you. You can start off with something like this. You can do it yourself, have a training partner. Just. Good. Once that becomes comfortable, have them use it. Hard. And have them condition the forearms that way. Now you certainly can do it yourself. So you condition the forearms, so again, blocking punches, kicks, hitting with forearm strikes. You have confidence that you're not going to hurt yourself worse than you're going to hit the guy that you're in a fight with. Same thing with the shin. There's shin. Start off either with a split stick or with a pipe. Condition the shin. You'll get to a point where you can do this virtually all day long. It doesn't bother you. Now, if you can take a pipe and hit your own shin with a pipe, there's not too many guys where you're going to have to worry about blocking their kicks with your shin. So the idea is to gain and build the confidence when you practice body conditioning. Okay, now. One thing that people say, if you have your arm locked like this, well, what's he going to do with that hand? I don't think it makes any sense to try to block individual techniques. If he throws a hook or an uppercut or whatever, you're not going to be fast enough to really do anything. The best thing to do to stop him from hitting is to just destroy that shoulder. So as soon as you were to lock up and grab whatever technique you want to do, just hit that shoulder. Hit the shoulder. Don't wait for him to punch. You hit it. Just hit it. That's for that second that it stops, wham, this is where you come in with your next technique. So just constantly smash that shoulder. Another technique that works very well is the edge of hand blow coming right down the collarbone. So if I were to stop his shoulder and then drop that, stop and drop it right to that collarbone, that's going to damage on it. If you hit with all your force, even a short chop, which we're going to demonstrate, is going to do some damage, and it's going to at least stop him from immediately hitting with that. Once you get that, your next technique should be in. Okay, another concept that I think is important is you have to take responsibility for your own training. You have to find your own specialty, your own technique, your own way of doing things. You have to make it your own. You can't copy somebody else's technique. That only takes you so far. Then you have to try to figure out the answers to a lot of these questions yourself. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's take a left lead, okay, or a left jab. Now, instead of just taking the left and just practicing just throwing out the left, helter-skelter, let's think about what we want to really accomplish with the left. Generally, we're going to use the left either to stop his immediate advance, to keep him off balance, or to use it as an opening technique for a more powerful blow. So just as an example, let's just look at this for a second. It's pretty standard in boxing that a blow that hits directly straight onto the face usually results in a knockdown, okay? A flush punch, let's say directly to the face, usually drives the guy back, he loses his balance, his head goes back and he hits the ground, but he's not knocked out. When we take a blow that comes at an angle, okay, whether let's say we angle to throw an overhand right to catch that chin, or let's say after a jab we step to throw the left hook, the blow that twists the head violently usually results in a knockout. Okay, so when we use a left jab, let's be a little inventive. Instead of just taking the left jab and just throwing it straight out, yeah, you might bust his nose, you might knock his head back, you might even knock him down. Let's think a step ahead. If I put just a slight angle to my jab, just turn it, little bit of a loop to that angle of the jaw, I get what I'm looking for. I get that tight snap at the end, and if you see where I'm hitting, I'm catching almost directly on that line. So I'm using my jab, one, to start to get that twist. Okay, so I'm already doing something that is actually more effective than just throwing the jab straight out. I'm trying to add something to make it a little bit more effective when I move it for my next shot. So that's one angle that the blow can travel. How about another one? Let's say that I drop my jab a little lower and shoot up so that my jab comes under the chin this way. I'm flicking here. See that? Just boom, just flick that. Boom, just flick that up. It's hard to do without hitting, but flick that up. Now you see that position, chin? If I hit one as I step, come straight over, you can see I'm lifting, taking the tension off the neck as I move. When I drop that right hand, where? He's here, and then snap that head. So the jab snaps up. Another thing to do is to take these knuckles and aim for his Adam's apple. So I'm hitting under, glide up. You don't have to give it to me. I'll get it. Even if it's chin down. Aim, snap up. See what I'm doing? I'm aiming about here, letting that now right here, right up. So these knuckles hit into the throat, the top knuckles, boom, drive that chin up. If I hit as I step, and drive that punch right over the top, I'm really setting it up. Just a couple little examples of how you use your own brain to try to figure things out. I want to go over two choking techniques, particularly good in a stand-up situation. Whenever you're close in, that you can grab in tight. Once you get part of the lapel, use that constantly when you're grabbing, maneuvering, turning, twisting, pulling, pushing. Use those handles to destroy his balance so he's not getting set while you're able to use your technique. Once you damage, now even one hand, if I can hold on with one hand while I use the other hand to strike, to use an elbow, to pull him into an edge of hand blow, excellent stuff. Now, one excellent choking technique from here. Once you've done some damage, switch your grip. Switch your grip, leaving one hand free. Again, if he tries to strike, use this to maneuver him. Don't worry necessarily about blocking a punch. When he goes to hit, just maneuver, get his balance so he doesn't know what to do. He's the one that's rocking. Strike with your other hand, knee to the groin. Once you get him in a bent position, just get the back of his head, pull down, and slip that hand in here. This one. All right, anytime that you have a chance to grab, open the jacket. Now you could be striking, kicking, elbowing, edge of hand. I still have that grip. Slip one hand in tight. And again, be able to use that hand as you're moving around to stop him from an offense. You could still punch, elbow, edge of hand, knee, whatever you want to do when you have that hand. All you have to do is rip underneath, catch the back of his head, and drive. Pull, catch the back. This could be a strike right to the base of the skull. In this way, and just lock. That's an excellent choke. Now from here, you have your knee strikes, your kicks, satemi-waza, whatever you want to do. That's one very good choking technique. Okay, another very good one that's very, very similar. Once you're able to open that lapel and come in, and again, use this to disturb his balance, strike, whatever you want to do, then grab, flip the arm over, and choke. Okay. One thing you have to remember is Damien right now is being very kind to Pete. He's looking to get the hold in without causing a lot of undue damage. In a real fight, once I got in this position, besides everything else that I'm going to do to this guy, if I want to get that collar, I'm going to take my thumb, put it on the side of his neck, and I'm going to drive that right in to get that hold. I'm not going to play around. Forget it. I do this because you're training. You don't want to cause undue injury to your partner. In a real fight, after everything else I'm doing, that thumb is going to gouge right here as I go into the collar. That's going to open that up to be able to set that in. So Damien now is being nice as he hunts for it, but in a real fight, we would just drive that thumbnail right through his throat to grab that collar, and you wouldn't even give a second thought about it. So keep that in mind. Remember what I said, any little thing you can do to make this guy flinch, cause pain, anything. As minor as it is, just that thumb into the side of the neck, just that much could be an opening. Could need a groin, a drop to the spine, half to the back of the neck, a knee to the face. Just that little bit would be enough to make another opening, a bigger opening, another opening, like a wave or a tornado that starts small and then just gets bigger and bigger and more violent. That's what you got to do. Okay? Right? From a standing position. One very, very good one that could be used from almost any tie-up, whether you're actually grabbing garment or you're more in neck and elbow mode, even from the tie clinch. The hand that's around the neck meets with the other hand, okay, in a palm-to-palm grip. Now, what I like to do is I like to lock this index finger to pinky because it gives me a much narrower lock. Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my head against either his temple or his jaw, whatever you can get. So you're from here. You can bounce this. You use your shoulder. Now just get your head in there and just push. Now again, we're doing this into a position. I would never try to submit somebody with this in a street fight. But when I get here, another excellent blow is just to use this to snap back into the back of the neck as you hit with your shoulder. Now again, use this just to get him to not think about this, okay, or about this. So that's all we're doing. So again, this lock up, you could use this as a blow, use your shoulder as a blow, and then just get their head right in there. Pull this down at a 45 as you extend it. All right. Okay, again, from this grip, the head goes in, and it just pulls. And again, this is not a submission, this is just a pain hold that opens up something else. Okay, now some of the guillotine holds. One of the primary moves, when you can get somebody bent over, whether you do it by manhandling him, whether you do it because you need him, he comes in for some kind of drive or tackle. One of the most important things is to just get his chin. I'm just going to convulsively grab his chin with both hands. I'm going to hold it tight. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to shake this way, using his chin as a lever. I'm just going to rattle his cage. Again, you got all your blows. Elbows, knees, whatever you want to do. Or just hold on to this, rip. Then from here, you can go into your chokeholds. So again, this is just catching the chin with both hands and just ripping the neck back and forth as violently as you can. When you go into, let's say, a regular guillotine, you're going to slide your forearm under the throat, lock his head between your pec and your deltoid, this way. Now when you add this hand, it goes on very, very quickly. Another pain addition is when you grab this, take your thumb, lock your thumb into the side of his neck as you put the chokehold on. That locks it in nicely. Of course, you can take this across the face in a cross face. Same idea, lock this. Okay, same idea. the figure 4, head is down, come across, hit that shoulder up. Now lock this in. Either across the throat or across the face. You can do the same thing this way for a neck twist. Most of the neck cranks and choke holds probably are best used without going after the garment. That way it doesn't matter winter, spring, summer, fall, no matter what he's wearing, you got a technique that's going to work. Okay, you don't have to worry about whether he's wearing a thick jacket or a t-shirt or his bare chest or whatever. That doesn't make a difference. Okay, another very, very good neck crank, similar to the one that we showed with the head, is just simply slamming the head into the shoulder, but doing it in such a way that from a straight out position, I turn my body. See this? I go off center, so that when I pull this in, his head is turned to the side. Now, just take the doubled hands, as you drive with your shoulder, pull your hands down to your waist. Okay? Now, important. If you do this without having this arm locked, okay, he's not going anywhere but into you, right? You see this, you lost it. You got a problem. You could squeeze all day long. This guy's got a bull neck. You got a problem. So when you get into here, I use my shoulder to literally turn his head. This arm has to loop to lock that shoulder. Now drive down. Now drive down. So that's very important. Sometimes the little things that really make these techniques work the best. Just to give you another idea. For whatever reason, you got behind your man. Okay, you're kidney punching him, whatever. Drive your fingers into his eyes, into his nasal socket, whatever you're going to do to the guy. However you got there. But let's say, along with anything else that could happen, you find yourself in a position where you got in a half Nelson. Now, you can go for a series of chokes and other various things. We'll cover more of those when we do more of the groundwork. But let's say from this position, you were to twist him around, or somehow as you're fighting, you lose this. Well, all I did from the half Nelson is a twist, is just caught again his head into the side of my ribs. I lock his arm with my head. Now I lift. This way. This is a vicious hold. I can also, from this position, change into a chin lock this hand here, go into a figure 4 from here, and even to a more vicious neck crank. So here's a technique. I started somehow from in here. Somehow I lose this. I get to twist him into here. I lock this. Make him tap 1, chin lock, turn around. Chin lock to control. I can punch, knee, kick the groin, lock into here. Just switch into a figure 4 and crank on the neck again. And when I crank, I'm really going to crank. No submission, just yank. That's a good bumper stick. Just to review about the striking technique. There is no striking technique that's going to be an answer for everything. When you're in a situation, the best you can hope for is that you can make an opening, a crack in this guy's armor, a chink in his armor. And then from there, you've got to work in until you can really develop the kind of speed, power, and continuous combinations that are going to do some real damage. So I don't want anyone to get the idea, the impression that, oh, if you hit him this way, or if you hit this point, or if you do this, you know, everything's going to work out wonderfully. Because in a real fight, it's always a fight. This guy's going to be fighting just as hard to beat you as you are to beat him. So there's no answers that are magic. It's going to be hard work. The point is, I want you to think about every little thing you can do. Depending on the distance, if you could use a headbutt, if you could hit with your shoulder, use a close-in elbow, bite, whatever, gouge, rip, whatever you can do to cause injury and pain that just opens a gap so you can do something worse. And then maybe that'll open up a bigger gap to do something even worse. That's the idea. I don't want anyone thinking that anybody can teach you, oh, hit him here, or do this, and you're going to be safe and sound, and don't worry about a thing, because that's not real life at all. You've got to learn to develop short, close-in power, using the body, being able to hit and digging, even with the hook. use the body to rip, hit hard. Work these techniques in close as well as at a distance. Short headbutts, short punches, short elbows. Very, very important. Nobody can really teach these things to anyone. They're just ideas and concepts. You got to get with a training partner, get with your striking equipment, and then really figure it out and work it out for yourself. Because everybody's different. I'm going to do things differently than Damien. Damien different than another guy. So everybody's got to find their own way of doing this. One other concept is balance equals power. We constantly say that you should always be moving into your man, constantly with an aggressive forward drive. I'm going to try to demonstrate that now. Damien is going to be punching the punching block. Are you ready? So many times. Hard. Boom, boom. Go through the wall. Again, hard. Again. Good. Now, distance, the ability to use body weight, the development of speed for ballistic impact power. Now what I'm going to do, just stand there. Just stand there. From a reverse punch. Don't step in. From there, hit the bag. Hard. Hard. Good. Now, we reduced the distance. There wasn't a lot of forward body momentum. There's a difference, obviously, still a hard punch, but there's a difference in the impact. Now, from this distance, punch. Okay. Very weak compared to the other punches. Why? Because I took his balance and I moved his balance backwards with one finger. Okay, that was enough to destroy a lot of his ability to deliver full body impact. So that's one of the key concepts. When you move on your man, you constantly want to be where he's standing because he needs to set himself to be able to get power. If I'm constantly moving into him, always trying to be where he's standing. Okay, so you constantly want to be able to move this man backwards because when you strike or knee, I don't want to hit him and come back because now it's going to be an exchange. I want to be able to hit and constantly move him away. Move him backwards and reduce his power. So that's why we always stress that constant forward drive. Hey, any sport, football, soccer, rugby, boxing, wrestling, any combative sport, always means moving forward. That's offense. That's how people win. Same thing in hand-to-hand combat. Exactly the same principle. Again, I don't want to get into the different mechanics of punching, striking, kicking, particular to any one art, and I also don't want to concentrate on long-range strikes and kicks. We're going to try to give some ideas about close-in, tight-in grappling, and some ideas about how certain fist blows, edge of hand, heel of hand, some gouging techniques, how some of the upper body blows would fit in. First, let's talk about areas that are going to really give us the best chance of causing damage or KO. Two primary areas are the chin on either side of the point of the chin. An easy way to find it is to look at the corner of the mouth and draw a line straight down. That's the area, here or here. It's the longest part of the lever of the lower mandible, and there's a nerve here, the mental foramen, comes through the jawbone. The other area is right across the side of the neck. Now, you have the carotid artery, you have the vagus nerve. It doesn't really matter where you pinpoint. You really want a hard blow from this muscle to the windpipe, right in this area. The other area that's very good is the back, the base of the skull, or the back of the neck. So, concentrating on those three areas right now. Those are some of your best areas for a real ballistic shot to the brain and a very good chance of a KO. What we're dealing with is an inability to strike from a long range. to build up a lot of power and body. We have to strike in a grappling situation from very close in. This is not easy. What we have to do is we have to get some type of space or some type of opening. The first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to try to deal with his arms if he's got a strong, tight grip. How we can get a little bit of space. Now obviously, we did the kicking techniques. Excellent cover for the hands. Now, as far as injuring the arms, use your forearms. This hand in the back of my neck. I'm going to turn my head in. I'm going to release an arm, use the bony part of my forearm just to strike. Up into the muscle, into the elbow, to strike. Just trying to get a little bit of distance. Hit that arm. Try to weaken it. Pulling down this way, striking in here, using the elbow, using the edge of your hand. The idea is to give him something to think about. This arm is strong. Punching. Just punching. Just enough that I can release and strike here. Strike here, strike here, strike here. Kick again. This arm again. Just maneuver. Just a pull. Just a little bit of distance. Just to pull out, a little bit of distance. Using my elbow. Using my edge of hand. Then going back into my kicking techniques. Anything you can do. An edge of hand. An elbow, a punch. All right, in a close-in situation, in a close-in grappling where you're locked up, very difficult to use the hands and use them with any kind of power. So what we got to do is we have to get some kind of room, some kind of distance. Like I said, what's still open, what still is basically free, is to be able to use the legs. To be kicking, stopping, kicking to the groin, kneeing, okay? To be able to use the hands, we have to open up and get some distance to really be able to use power. So, what's free? What can we really use? Well, we can start swinging the fists, but probably the best thing to start to use is to start to use the head. Now, the hardest areas of the head being in the front, right under the hairline, and right here at an angle above the ear. So from this position, if I start now to from just a couple inches, into his temple, just to start hitting this way. When you headbutt, close your eyes tightly. If you don't, and you head somebody strong, the referral shock yourself is going to make your eyes vibrate. Try to see what I mean, but if you close the eyes tight, when you hit, you're not going to have that problem. So, from here, being able to just start smashing, then from this position, angle, just turn the head and drive again with even more power. There's your shot to the groin. There's your shot here. Now, moving into a grappling situation. So we'll start by just, in whatever position you're in, just start using your head 2 or 3 times. Turn to get a good shot at it. Now this is going to start to open you up. Okay, there's going to be some distance here. You have the short ribs under here. Just take the fist, just start pounding into the short ribs. Not one shot. Hit once, that drops here. Come over to the carotid artery, into the ear with the second one. Now you have a thumb that go into the eye. Again, I can use a headbutt. Use a knee again. Now this might open up, back of the neck. So the idea is to just take bits and pieces. Using your head, short, tight punches into the ribs. Short and tight, use body. Into here, just enough to make him go, oh man, I don't want to get hit there again. Then turn over, into the kidney, into the side of the neck, into the jaw. Bang, hit him 3 or 4 times. Block and give him pain. Turn, take your nose or an eye. Rear of his windpipe. Rip, strike again. Just some ideas and just some concepts to work on. Now, the way you're going to break someone's balance or disturb the equilibrium in a real fight is going to be with strikes and kicks. That's going to be the most direct way to destroy the balance if you're going to move in for any type of takedown or throw. Now, this is very obvious. The direction that I want to break the balance is where the direction of my force is going to be. So, no matter how damn you were to stand, if I want to take the balance backwards, I have to move to that line and strike in that direction. If I wanted to move him to his flanks, regardless of how his feet were, it would be the same idea. It would not just be a subtle maneuvering of his garment or clothing, because if he were to resist, it would be very difficult. And as I'm trying to do this, he's going to be striking, hitting, kicking, head-butting, and doing everything else. So if I wanted to break the balance quickly, what I would do would be to strike, to release and strike. Or release and strike. This would be the easiest way to do it. I'm going to break the balance by hitting him in the direction I want him to go. Now, one of the easiest ways to do this when your hands are tied up in an upper body grappling situation is to use low line kicking. Now, low line kicking would be used in this situation in multiple combinations. We can use the toe of the boot, we could use the edge of the boot, the inside edge of the boot, the heel. And it will be done rapid fire. Just spread your legs a little bit. So it will be done, no matter how I'm holding top, my kicking action's on the bottom would be multiple without putting my foot down. I would be kicking toe, inside edge of boot, outside edge of boot, toe, toe, inside edge of boot. So it would be multiple kicking to the low line level. Go! Shionage. Very quick idea of how you use these type of low line kicks. They would be continuous, repetitive, and you would keep smashing until you felt you were in a position to follow through with whatever technique you wanted to. It could be a joint lock, it could be a choke, it could be a throw, it could be now the ability to get loose from an upper body grasp and use hand blows. Two other techniques that we want to do that are very difficult to practice, as you just saw, would be to attack the groin with kicks and then to do the stomps. Now, these would be in very, very close contact. Very close contact. Where simply what you're going to do is stomp, right, coming down the shin, driving right into the foot. Now, in a freestyle practice, especially with boots, it's almost impossible to do because somebody's going to get seriously injured. I mean, even barefoot, there's a good chance. But the idea is what you want to do, it's not from a distance. You're locked in closely. So what you want to do is you want to be able to feel right where the side of his body line is. Bring that right into the shin and drive. This way, up and drive. It could be with the inside edge of the boot. If I'm turned, it could be with the outside edge of the boot. And this comes all the way down, scraping the shin and smashing down on the foot. Also, just stop it. Repetitive is enough to make him want to get his feet out of dodge. The next technique is the kick to the groin. Now, close in, we can use the knee. The problem here, especially if a guy's a good grappler, if I need the groin to pull back, there's a good chance he's going to try to grab my leg. Now, if I try to pull back, I'm in a very bad position when I get done. So one of the most important things to remember is if you need the groin, knee and drive through. This way, even if the leg is grasped, your body weight is moving in there. Instead of knee coming back where he's got it, now you're going right down on your ass. The next thing is the kick using the shin. just snapping. Let's say I move, I open his legs with a kick. Boom. Now, just take my shin and saddle kick, going directly through the legs, using the shin to crush the testicles. And again, drive through. So the kick, and comes down. Okay, just to go over again in review, the low line kicks, and there's not really any technique to this. Once you grapple and your upper body is being controlled, these kicks are just very ballistic. Just very ballistic snaps. I mean, you're just taking the toe of your boot and kicking into the shin or the kneecap, the edge of the boot, the inside edge of the boot. And you're just doing it as fast and as viciously as possible. Once you start to open up the legs, now you can saddle kick. And just take that and swing that right through as hard as you can. Important again is when you do the knee and you do the kick, you want to really do this and drop your weight forward. Now, this is not a solution to every grappling situation. If you face a guy that's very, very good and he would have grabbed your leg, there's a good chance that you're going to go down. There's an excellent chance if I try to pull back. Look how my balance is. But if I kick and drive down, it's giving me a better option than if I were to kick and pull back. Now I have my body force going backwards. Now, just to tie in the section on the ukemi, not only is the ukemi important if you are thrown, but in some situations you might use a sacrifice technique. This will help protect you when you go down. A perfect example of this is, in that grappling situation, if I throw a knee or a kick and it's seized, and the opponent goes to take me down to the ground, I have to be able to take the roll and fall without injuring myself. This should come almost as second nature. That's why it's also very important, whenever you knee or you kick, one reason why I always advocate going straight up. In other words, here are my options. A roundhouse knee or a roundhouse kick. Not that they're bad techniques, but if my opponent catches my roundhouse kick to the thigh, I'm going down hard. But if he catches my kick to the groin, I have something that I can do. It would be very difficult for me to throw him with these angled techniques. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad technique. I'm saying biggest bang for the buck, going straight through. If I hit, great. If it gets caught, it gives me a quick option. Go on to the next section. One interesting use of the foot stomps, and I know a lot of times people will find this kind of humorous, but this does work, especially in a situation where you have to get room in a gang attack. If I got 4 guys, now they're just going to come in and they're just going to completely move as quickly and as violently in to seize me close in. Now, virtually useless. My hands are virtually useless. Lock those hands up, guys, so I really can't. There's no strike technique. The only thing that I have 2 weapons here that might be useful. I have my head and I have my feet, but I'm not going to kick, because if I were to try to kick these guys, let's say as I try to kick Pat in the groin, I'm going to go right there. They're going to drag me right there. So, in order to get some breathing room, just start stomping. You see what this does? They're going to get their feet away. Now, this starts to open up just a little bit of difference, where I can start to now move and strike. So this, again, is a very simple, basic technique, but allows you to get a little bit of breathing room so that now you can start to hit people and really do some damage. So, okay? The next important point is what we call kazushu, or balance. Now, generally, in any grappling competitive match, it's incredibly important to break the balance of the opponent. This allows you to complete a throw, a hold down, a takedown, almost any maneuver. You have to break the balance. Now, in a street fight, this is going to be accomplished much differently than it would be in a competitive match because there are no rules. A couple of basic principles. The line of least resistance easily can be found by drawing a line from one foot to the other and then intersecting that with a perpendicular line. If Damien were to stand with his feet evenly, it's obvious that that is his weakest point of balance. From this position, pushing this way is much more difficult than if I follow that line of force. If he were to stand with his right foot forward, again, a little more. We draw the line, we come in at a perpendicular line. So it's no longer this way. Put some strength in this thing. Okay, it's no longer this way. This is strong. I want to go on this line. If the other foot was forward, again, this is strong here. I would want to move to this line here. So that's an important point. Very simple to decide where the balance is. There's not going to be any subtle maneuvering as you would in judo, jiu-jitsu, or any other standing grappling, where you're trying to break the balance by maneuver and by subtle action. This is not going to work in a real fight because while you're trying to do this, he's going to be doing something much more vicious and much more direct. So that's a real quick course in how to decide where the line of least resistance is. The first concept that we're going to cover is break falls, or what would be known in judo as ukemi. Ukemi, when taken in a real-life situation, has to be changed. Certain methods have to be eliminated and other methods have to be added. The most important concept to remember is that you're going to be falling on an unyielding or hard surface. So consequently, using a slapping action as one would on a mat or a padded surface might cause severe injury to the arm. What we want to do is we want to take the body and make it as curved as possible while protecting the hip bone, the spine, the points of the elbows, and the back of the head. This is primary when we're going to land on a hard surface. Beginning, starting out, what you want to do is you want to practice easily just a rolling. All you're going to do is just sit and roll. Just sit and roll. Now, what you want to notice is that as you roll, you curve the spine. You're protecting the hip bones. You're protecting the points of the elbow, and most importantly, the back of the neck and the back of the skull. Now, have your training partner lightly just push you. Easily, that's how you begin to train, to build confidence in your ability to take that fall, arch the back, protect the hips, the spine, the back of the head, the point of the elbows. That's the beginning phase. Next, would be taking a stronger shot when you're going to have to go into a full roll. So from this position, you'd sit and roll. Sit and roll. He's going to sit and roll. Again, concentrating on keeping a arch in the spine, protecting the elbows from hitting, protecting the back of the skull. Next, you're going to do it with a push. Gently at first. And then with a little more power. important points. When you fall, when you roll, you tuck the point of the chin into the chest. As you do the back roll, you tuck an ear to the shoulder. That will move the head in such a way that you're not going to get the concussive force when you hit. Okay, now the application of this, other than being pushed or shoved, would be from actually being thrown. Now, important here is when you are throwing, and we'll do a shoulder throw. As you're throwing, if you notice how I landed, I'm taking the brake full with the bottoms of my feet. This breaks the fall. So when you land, the feet are landing first. This absorbs the force of the fall. If you notice, as I land, I'm tightening up the side it's going to hit. I'm not hitting this way. I'm not brake falling. I'm tightening up the lat, the delt, the bicep and tricep. This way. This is protecting me. I'm also tucking my head. Feet hitting first. Just to explain how this method can be used and hopefully alleviate any doubts as to its effectiveness, we're going to take the brake falls actually out in the real world. One important point in anything we demonstrate in these tapes, nothing is a guarantee and nothing is foolproof. These are simply ideas and concepts that may help you to survive. Everything in a real fight is a maybe. Maybe it'll work and maybe it won't. The best we can do is try to get the most comprehensive, common sense approach to what we're doing when it comes to real world self-defense. So I don't want anyone to get the idea that we're saying this is the only way to do things, or that this is some kind of method that is going to always allow you to come through unscathed. That just is not how life works.